Yo, yo, it's ODB from OLP. This is issue 187 of Mini Truckin Magazine, July 2007. It's a damn good issue. We got a lot to talk about. Let's jump right in. If you like what we're doing, leave a comment, even if it's just an emoji thumbs up or any emoji. And also give a thumbs up on the video. It does help, believe it or not. Okay, so this is a shop special issue that, rest in peace, Ernie Macias shot. This was his third credited cover out of 9 total. Yes, it would seem like the big homie, Ernie, oftentimes when I go through the numbers, it sometimes seems like maybe somebody would have had shot more, but he had 9 total credited, and this is his third of those 9. This is a special issue, in my opinion, because we get to see the DIB shop. At that time was definitely, these guys were doing it big for sure, DIB. And we've got the Nissan that really was pushing the limit with the bigger wheels. We've got Kunas Zach, that's his Instagram name. So Zach's Ranger, which he has since finished and really enjoyed. But oh, by the way, let's not forget, he debuts in 2024, the Mazda. This is the first of 2 appearances on the cover. Really, my opinion is it should now be 3, but more on that at Mini Nats coming up in terms of what OLP is going to award for 2024. Exclusive 8-page poster, and I will show that a little bit later. You've got the insert shot as well, which highlights the poster. That's key because, again, driving the newsstand sales would have been key. Dude, just an awesome cover by Ernie. Not only was it on location, obviously, at DIB in Houma, Louisiana. I think I'm saying that right. But again, you've got the Nissan, you've got the Mazda, and then you've got the domestic with the Ranger, super clean. And then you've got tons of show coverage. I think it was a good cover because I like the sparks. I like the unfinished trucks with the finished truck. I like how the unfinished trucks are up front, believe it or not. I like how it's the poster. I mean, it's really, if you look at this cover, there's a lot going on. Unfortunately, I do not have one without the label. I only have my subscription issue, and that's all I've got. So we're going to jump in here. And again, if you like what we're doing here, please consider subscribing. If there's anybody that can shed light on these issues, or if there's anybody that you know that would appreciate this content, click the share and text it to the big homies. And let's continue to grow here. I appreciate all the support. Now, I flipped through a couple of pages before I started this just to see what I was working with. I typically don't do that, but I was very curious. I haven't looked at this issue in a long time. And we have here, this is when, this would have been about, several months after, 3-4 months later. But Courtney Halowell, rest in peace, at this time he was going through a stroke. So Mike Alexander talked about Draggin Thru, this Draggin Thru column, the good with the bad. And he talks about, some of the times that we had been experiencing with losing homies. Again, you get the Wyatt Strange, which was Courtney and others. I think Courtney is often credited, and I did that as well for a very long time, just said, hey, it was Courtney. But we do know now, based upon facts, that other folks did help contribute. But, the lion's share of that was, of course, Courtney. And you've got that famous quote there. But, Mike was showing some love. And not much has changed because you think about we're in 2025 now at the time of this recording. And we're still losing people. And it's very, very tough as we get older. Here, again, table of contents, you're going to have the little shout out to Ernie, quote, the cover. This cover stuff is easy, Macias. The shot was captured on the set of Monster Garage's mini truck build by Mike Alexander. So this, believe it or not, it's funny because I posted something about Monster Garage just this week with the Lincoln they built, 64. But this, you would think, like with the cover being what it was, like, oh, this would have been DIB, but this was not. You can see here, I loved how the table of contents at this time had really come together. Just it gives you those those squares in terms of, what to expect in this issue, which is fantastic. If you like what we do here, again, when you subscribe, you're going to get from 2024 on. This is totally free in terms of a subscription. all of our video episodes, but going back to 2015, there are some audio episodes if you want to go back on Podbean, that app on Android or iPhone. You can do so and listen to all the episodes, the past episodes. We're almost up to 400. David McAughty, have since become friends with him. This truck is a continued work in progress, last I recall. And, of course, it's a crew cab now. If that's the same truck, it does appear to be. And David McAughty's life came to a screeching halt when his beloved wife was diagnosed with breast cancer in February 2006. So definitely MT newsworthy. That's tough. It really, really is. We lose far too many people to cancer. Skippy's revival. So you got Nick Skippy. I'm not going to pronounce his last name. I don't want to butcher that. 93 Nissan Hardbody. Super clean. Definitely worthy of a construction zone feature. And then the Alabama Slugger, Justin Wallace's 01 Chevy S-10, which also snuck in another S-10, which is super cool. Definitely solid look, laid out with, that grill, that valence, that bumper. Definitely a good look for those S-10s in my opinion. Okay, so this is a pretty cool truck. I love my Mitsubishis, and this is pretty cool. Daily Gone Wrong, I think is what it says, by Joseph Murphy, and then this was also by Joseph Murphy. So I think this was the owner, if I remember correctly, did the feature and write-up, which is cool. So yeah, Joseph Murphy, Live Oak, Texas. Super cool. Love the background. Mitsubishi Mighty Max, really hard to go wrong with one of those things, man. They're awesome. Again, if you know the story, Mitsubishi Mighty Max is technically what got me involved in the scene, from a local guy in here in good old Land O'Lakes. Speaking of, I pulled this out. There's a video I recently did on this, so again, check the channel. This is going to be something I'm going to be talking a lot more about real soon, for those that remember this bad boy. But back to the lecture at hand, as Snoop and Dre said. Stock Truck Edition Part 2. So again, Ernie Macias plugging away with his, quote, STK stock truck tech article. I usually don't spend a lot of time on those, but again, this is in 4K. Depending on your signal strength, you can always bump it up, take the screenshots. If you do share the stuff, I always appreciate if you want to tag at our Lifestyle Podcast, Facebook, Instagram. Nationwide shop directory, that ties into the title of the episode, the title cover, which, was just kind of highlighting shops around the country, which would have been a cool, definitely a cool issue. SoCal shop special. I think technically it was highlighting SoCal shops, and pretty cool, to see this stuff. Some of the behind the scenes, some of these shops aren't around anymore. Go Easy Kustomz, they were around, I think, a long while. I don't believe they are anymore. The MIC built, and then it even says that here. Here's one of a handful of cover trucks built by MIC. I forget. You guys could probably chime in because I don't remember if Go Easy brought in some of the MIC stuff or how all that worked. But you can see MIC here. I've seen some stuff on Instagram with the hashtag with some of these display cases, and then I think towards MIC's run at the end, they had the kind of the NBA guy logo. But you guys could chime in. I don't name Astro Image Kustomz. When was it open? 98. Okay, yeah. So I'm sorry. This is where I'm getting confused. So you got Go Easy Kustomz. Again, I haven't looked at this in forever. Then this is MIC, and I think this is after Rob had sold it and the new ownership. He talked about that exclusively on OLP. He has done like almost no interviews, no press, nothing, since he got out of the game 20 some odd years ago. And he came on OLP, and I've become friends with him, and he's a good dude. Chassis by IHA, I believe is the correct pronunciation. A lot of folks pronounced it wrong. I did as well for a very long time until someone was like, it's IHA. Super talented dude. Still building some of the sickest trucks, tandem dualies. There was a newer dually from Aftermath that was at LST this year. Just have built some of the sickest Lincolns. I mean, definitely crazy. Dropped and Destroyed. Shout out to the kinfolk up there. And, you know, we've highlighted these guys in the past. They have a long-running show, Dropped and Destroyed. I think you could technically follow that Instagram as well. This always tripped me out because our friend Matt Torgerson, shout out to Matt, he had a van, and this would always make me do a double take because you'd start to see it here, and you're like, oh, that looks like Matt. Oh, yeah, definitely not Matt's van. But it had a suicide door, obviously no windows in the back, kind of a crazy setup. And cool deal here. This truck is featured in here. It has one of my least favorite mods on it, but I think it's one of the more well done ones. And as I've told people before, just because something might be my least favorite mod doesn't mean that it's bad. The Draggits, so there's your cartoon deal. And then, boom, the cover story. So the cover story on here is not a feature of these individual trucks. Now, granted, to me, it's almost better. It's a feature of the shop. And then, hey, oh, by the way, the trucks are there. We built these trucks. But to me, this was a super cool feature. I love how the photos are kind of laid out. You got, of course, Zach's Mazda here in Houma, Louisiana. As someone once told me, the real LA. They saw me out with an LA hat on. And they're like, the real LA. Employee of the Month, Woody. It's showing the DIB. And then there's Duckman. Again, these guys, I mean, pun intended, these guys definitely did it big. One of my favorite vehicles, other than what we're seeing here, was the red dually. I think Mike Alexander may have owned it for a minute. Or Jamie Jordan had his hand in it too, you know, at the shop and things like that. But that red dually was on the cover. I have that issue of 8 lug. I need to highlight that if I haven't. But you can see there, Zach, Jamie, Travis, Woody, and Duck. The missing person is Josh. Definitely left their name in the scene. A lot of these guys still doing the dang thing. But DIB, in case you never knew, now you know, homie. DIB was doing it big. We had somebody that was hanging out with us, and man, every single thing he said was around that era. He was like, yeah, doing it big, doing it big, doing it big. And I'm like, that was his little catchphrase. And I'm like, everybody kind of has their own catchphrase, but I was like, dude, it's like, not everything is doing it big. The real stuff that's big, like what Doing It Big was doing, they were doing it big. The guy that I'm talking about wasn't, no offense if he hears this. It's like, bro, let it rest. Fresno Invasion, the best of Central Cali. So you got AVS here. These guys are super talented. They're still in the game, still doing the damn thing. I've got some stuff from them. You got Slam Specialties. There's Nick. And it's crazy to think this is 2007, right? Summer 07. If you think about, that's almost, now granted, I know we're in 2025 right now, but I mean, if you think 2007 was almost 20 years ago, crazy. Here's Dave Dukanowski. I'm going to mess that up. I'm bad with names. 97 Ford Ranger from Parma, 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 Ohio. So again, this has one of my mods that I may be not super fond of, but I think this truck is done really, really well. And this actually is different. Love how the interior, you know, it has this suicide door, the step side bed. I mean, it's just one of those trucks that like really would have stood out at a show, hence why it got featured, which is super cool. King or cut to tuck, and you can see the pumps in the back there. Actually, the car audio in the back, and you can see just a wild interior, all yellow. Super dope. Neeper wheels. Really, really radical. And I dig it. Something different. Sometimes different doesn't always go over with the crowd, but I think different is important. Heritage 2K6. Brandon Burrell shot this coverage. This might have been the year, I know the homie would take the Tacoma out there and just absolutely drag the heck out of it. And as Lee or LMC from LCD would say, the H Word Show. And we haven't given these guys enough credit, what they've done in their region of the country. And Brubaker would always support and whatnot. Shannon, the OG, with a tandem show truck. A lot of cool trucks. This was, it looks like Alan Williams' truck. Of course, LMC, which is Lee Caudell from LCD. He, introduced us to Alan, and he's been around a long time. And Alan won our OLP, Old School Pick of the Year. I think it was last year. Okay, Hard Luck of the Month, and then you got MT Cool Guy of the Month. This month was Max Fish. And I actually have, I'm going to pan over here real quick, Max Fish artwork on the wall. Finally got that hung back up. But super cool to see renderings. I mean, this was in the era when people were getting renderings on everything, and the rendering game was like just really being pushed forward, at least in our scene. MT Tattoos. There's a Sawzall, No Regrets. Dropped and Destroyed. I think on Instagram it's Dropt, D-R-O-P-T. Dropped and Destroyed. Aired Out. Doesn't everything look better aired out? This is Justin Dennis, 99 Toyota Tacoma. Super clean. I dig this paint, with the two-tone, something a little bit different. Super popular wheel, those intro, Vistas, I think they were. Vista 2s. Super clean. This, you look back at the pedigree of a truck like this, and you just go, wow, yeah, awesome. 20 years ago, featured. Super clean. And it reinforces that you don't always need something totally crazy. I think a lot of us have realized that, things got kind of crazy out of hand in the 2000s with pushing bigger wheels and stuff. Sparks in the Ozarks, unfortunately a show I haven't ever been to. Love this layout. You've got the grass here. They do an insert photo. You've got the dime laid out. Almost looks like the drive-in type atmosphere there with the trucks parked. Super cool. Keep in mind, all of these flip-throughs are here categorized in playlists. Also, I go through and add all of the features, the names. Now I'm adding the clubs, you name it. Michael Ballard, no relation as far as I know, from Louisiana, 91 Mazda 2600i. Rocking the glass house with the clear windows, which is still a popular thing. Cool graphics, just a real clean truck. And it was cool that they were continued to put the photos of the owners in here. Looking clean with the roll pan. And this has helped a lot of people. A lot of folks say, hey, man, thank you. I found my dad's truck. I found my friend's truck. X-Fest, 3rd annual, Excessive Habits and Ground Scrapers team up. Always cool when local shows, or local clubs, if you will, team up. You got the Amigo, an Ombre. There weren't a ton of those out there. Clean S-10. Awesome Mazda. Building the air tank frame. Fun fact, there's two that I know of. Jen Lacey, rest in peace, Chicks Ride. So Scrapin' Kustomz built that with a tank that was the frame that was a tank. And then Justin's Forerunner, which has since, of course, been sold, they originally built that. I'm assuming both are still functioning, but that was a thing when people were trying to go, man, how can I get rid of certain components? Clean Mitsubishi Mighty Max or D50. It's a D50. Stand corrected. And you got Maximize, Max Fish, editor's note. When it comes to chassis and suspension, there are a few people whom we trust enough with our lives. Good old Max Fish, we've had him on. It's been a while. If Max sees this, shout out. I know last time I talked to him, he was talking about, cool stuff and just an OG. Always love chatting with him. Got a couple tears, unfortunately, in this issue. DIB, MT Online. Again, this was in the era. Think about this. I mean, 07, they started to really push the online stuff. The website is absolutely, in my opinion, abysmal. I think that's the right way to say it. And it's still up and you can find stuff, but man, that website is needing some updating. Mind of Macias, rest in peace again. This month's column is dedicated in memory to Jason Childress. I think it was 91 to 2007. And I think that tied into what Mike wrote about as well, with losing homies, and we continue to lose people, unfortunately. So that is the flip through there. Now I am going to show you, so basically what you had, I had to dig this out. This was the cover, and this was the poster. So, kind of obviously a wider angle. You've got the trucks laid out, a little bit further apart. And Doing It Bigger was the title there. You got the Mazda again. Zach finished last year. And then it was a dual, what they say dual exclusive poster, because if for whatever reason you wanted to check on the wall with some head units behind it, you could do that as well. You would have had some sponsors that would have tied in some advertising. But again, issue 187, July 2007. Stay on the rise, everyone. Thanks for the support. Share it up, y'all. Macias. Much love to everyone out there. Shout out to Zach. This truck has since been finished. It's super sick. Mazda game changer. And the hardbody was insane. Insane for its time. Insane in the membrane. Art of noise. Macias.